The hallway went silent the moment he stepped in. Sixth period, science class, room 12B. And in the glass window of the door, framed perfectly like a school photo gone horribly wrong, stood her grandpa, in plaid flannel pajamas, slippers, a house key on a neon green shoelace around his neck. "Excuse me, young man," said Mr. Gallagher, blinking behind his thick lenses. "Can I help you?" Grandpa didn't answer. He just held up a wrinkled manila folder like it was a peace offering or a court summons. From her seat near the back, Lila wanted to disappear into her desk. Someone whispered, "Is that your dad?" "That's her grandpa, duh. Dude's in pajamas." She stood up, red-faced. "It's for my project. I forgot it at his house." Gallagher nodded, confused. "All right. Thank you, sir. You can hand it to Lila." But Grandpa didn't move. Instead, he waved the folder proudly, then began walking down the aisle, slippers flapping, whistling a warbly tune like he was entering a town hall meeting. A paper towel clung to the bottom of his left slipper. "Grandpa," Lila hissed, reaching to grab the folder. But he leaned in and hugged her, in front of 26 horrified witnesses. And then, "Excuse me," came a sharp voice behind them. "You cannot just walk into classrooms during instruction." It was Principal Dresden, clipboard in hand, eyebrows sharper than scissors. Grandpa turned, smiled wide. "Sir, we have rules here," she continued. "Visitors must check in at the office. This is a secure campus." He reached into his pajama pocket, pulled out a napkin, and scribbled something, then held it out. "Just a folder. I'm her grandfather. Sorry." Principal Dresden did not accept napkin apologies. "I'm going to have to ask you to leave campus immediately." She turned to Gallagher. "Mr. Gallagher, I'll follow up about classroom security." Lila looked at Grandpa, who stood frozen like a child caught with a slingshot. Then she saw it. His face had fallen just slightly. Not fear, not anger. Embarrassment. He turned without a word and shuffled out of the room. The door clicked shut behind him. And just like that, Lila became the girl with the pajama grandpa. The cafeteria the next day was merciless. "Does he sleep in those?" "I think he was trying to rescue her homework." "No way, bro, just wanted the free school lunch." Lila picked at her grapes and stared at the tray. The pizza was the rubbery kind that stuck to the roof of your mouth, the kind she usually didn't mind. Today, it tasted like paper. Across the table, her best friend Jasmine whispered, "It wasn't that bad." "He got banned, Jazz." "It's just temporary," Jasmine said gently. "My brother got banned from Walmart for trying to return cheese fries once. People come back." But Principal Dresden wasn't Walmart. She'd called Lila's mom that night, said the incident was a breach of campus protocol, and that Harold Jacobs is not permitted on school grounds until further notice. Lila had hidden in her room the rest of the evening, didn't answer when Grandpa knocked, didn't come out when he slid a note under the door. "Your presentation got an A+. You're welcome." She hadn't even said thank you. At dismissal, she saw him. Across the street from the school, in his old Buick. He wasn't in pajamas anymore, but the car windows were fogged up from him just sitting there, waiting. She walked fast in the opposite direction. "Lila," her mom's voice. She turned. Her mom stood by the car, arms folded. "Come here a second." Reluctantly, she crossed the street. Her mom looked tired, the kind of tired that meant she hadn't just been working all day, she'd been thinking all day, too. "I know yesterday was weird," her mom said, "but your grandpa, he was trying to help. He hugged me in science class." Her mom sighed. "Did I ever tell you he forgot my ballet recital when I was 10? Lila blinked. "What?" "He showed up 2 hours late. Said the car broke down. I didn't believe him. I didn't talk to him for a week." "What happened?" "He spent 3 days building a stage in our backyard out of plywood and cinder blocks. Said I deserved a solo." Lila bit her lip. "Why didn't I know that?" Her mom shrugged. "I guess because it's easier to remember the weird than the good. But he always shows up, sometimes badly, but always." She looked over at the car. Inside, Grandpa Harold was writing in his notebook, probably sketching the school parking lot from 10 different angles. "He told me," her mom added, "that yesterday felt like a second chance, to show up for someone in the right way this time." Lila was quiet. Then she opened the car door. "Hey." Harold looked up, startled. She got in, tossed her backpack in the back seat. "You embarrassed me so bad yesterday." He nodded solemnly. "But thanks for bringing the folder." He gave a tiny smile. Then he reached into the glove compartment and pulled out a pair of socks, red, with dancing dinosaurs on them. She laughed before she could stop herself. "Are those for me?" He pointed to himself. "Oh, you wore those yesterday, too?" Harold shrugged. And for the first time in 2 days, Lila didn't feel like disappearing. Principal Dresden was not known for warmth. Her heels clicked like warnings on the tile floor, and her office smelled like a lemon candle that tried to cover up paperwork and stress. Lila sat across from her now, fidgeting with a loose string on her hoodie. Harold sat beside her, straight-backed and oddly serene. He wore corduroy pants, a buttoned cardigan, and the faint smell of lavender soap. His hair was still wild. He hadn't tried to tame it since his incident. Principal Dresden folded her hands. "Mr. Gallagher," she began slowly, as if explaining basic grammar to a raccoon, "this is a school, not a stage, not a personal reunion, a school. We have rules." Harold nodded, then produced a small notepad and wrote, "I was delivering important educational materials." Lila winced. "Grandpa." Principal Dresden squinted. "In pajamas." Harold flipped the page. There was no time to change. Education waits for no man. Lila slapped a hand over her face. The principal's lips pressed together. "You interrupted 3 classrooms, hugged a student, nearly challenged the vice principal to arm wrestle." Harold shrugged, and Lila was sure she saw the ghost of a grin. "I'm suspending your campus privileges for 1 month. That includes assemblies, recitals, and—" "The fall grandparents' breakfast?" Lila blurted out. Principal Dresden nodded. "Yes." Lila felt it in her chest like a dropped book. That breakfast had been the plan, the one normal thing she and Grandpa were going to do together after Mom picked up extra shifts. He'd already picked out a bow tie. Harold shifted beside her, pulled out the red dinosaur socks again, placed them gently on the desk like a peace offering. Dresden stared at them, then at him, then at Lila. A beat passed. "Well," she muttered, "at least you have taste." Afterward, they sat on a bench outside the school. Neither spoke for a moment. Then Lila whispered, "You really almost arm-wrestled the vice principal?" Harold pulled out the notepad. "He started it." Lila burst into giggles despite herself. Then she sobered. Why'd you come in like that anyway? Could have just called. Harold hesitated, then wrote something new. When your mom was your age, I didn't show up when she needed me. I thought work mattered more. Lila blinked. This time, I didn't want to be late. She folded the paper slowly, stared at the trees across the yard. Their leaves were just starting to turn flashes of orange and gold like flames between the branches. You're kind of dramatic, you know, she said. Harold nodded. I like it, she added. And for once, the silence between them didn't need filling. Lila didn't eat much that morning. The toast went cold while she just stared at it. Across the table, Mr. Gallagher was buttering his own with unusual precision, like if he made it perfect enough, it might cancel out yesterday. I ruined it, he said finally. Lila blinked. Her grandfather rarely spoke first. I embarrassed you. I got you in trouble. I shouldn't have come to that school like that, and I definitely shouldn't have yelled at the principal. He wasn't looking at her, just folding the edge of the napkin over and over like origami. I wasn't embarrassed, Lila said. Okay, I mean, maybe for a second, but only because of the dinosaur socks. A tiny snort. Mr. Gallagher glanced up. Grandpa, she said, what you said about Mom, that you forgot her big science day, did she forgive you? He didn't answer immediately, and then he said, she tried, but she never brought it up again. And that's not really the same. A long silence. Then Lila stood, walked around the table, and wrapped her arms around his shoulders. Well, she said into his sweater, I'm bringing it up, but in a good way. By lunch, she had a new plan. She'd write a presentation, not just for her class, for the whole school, a defense case for her grandfather, PJs and all. It wasn't easy. Between grammar checks and image searches and figuring out how to scan one of Grandpa's handwritten pages into the school laptop, Lila stayed up till nearly midnight. By morning, she had it. A 10-slide deck titled Second Chances and Red Sox, Why Mr. Gallagher Deserves to be Heard. She asked to speak at the Friday assembly. Principal Dresden looked at her as if she'd grown a second head. Is this about your grandfather again? Yes, Lila said, but it's also about everyone. The woman sighed. 3 minutes? Lila walked onto the stage with clammy palms and a dry mouth. She clicked the remote. Slide 1. A drawing she'd made Grandpa in his robe, holding up her folder like a knight with a sword. Hi, she said. This is a story about mistakes. Grown-up ones. Some students giggled, but she kept going. See, my grandpa, Mr. Gallagher, made a mistake. A big, loud, fuzzy-socked one, but not the kind you think. Slide 2. A scan of the note he wrote her that morning. I missed one big day. I didn't want to miss another. Silence. Then came slide 3, a selfie of Grandpa at the back gate, holding a sign that said, I'm not trespassing. I'm delivering love. Laughter broke out across the room. Even some of the teachers chuckled. But then came the twist. Slide 4 wasn't part of the original plan, because Lila had added it that morning. It was a video, only 10 seconds, security footage sent anonymously. It showed Mr. Gallagher standing outside the classroom door after he was kicked out, holding her folder, waiting. He never left. He waited 37 minutes before the assistant principal told him again he had to go. The students gasped. Even Principal Dresden blinked. "I didn't know he stayed," Lila said. "He just wanted me to have my project. Because once he forgot, and it mattered, and now he remembers, and it matters even more." Final slide, a quote. One Mr. Gallagher had scribbled once on a napkin, "Sometimes second chances look like mistakes in pajamas." There was a beat of silence, then applause, loud, sustained. Even Dresden joined in stiffly, but she clapped. The following Monday, an envelope came in the mail, embossed with the school crest. Inside, "Dear Mr. Gallagher, your temporary ban has been lifted. You are warmly invited to our grandparents' breakfast next month. Please wear pants." Below that, a small sticky note from Principal Dresden herself. "P.S. Those red socks are now legendary." That afternoon, Mr. Gallagher pinned the letter to the fridge. Then he whispered, just loud enough for Lila to hear, "That's one I won't forget." She smiled. "Good, because I'm going to make you come in costume next year." He raised an eyebrow. "Knight armor? Dinosaur onesie?" He laughed, loud, and for the first time in weeks, so did she. The week after the presentation, Lila became something of a legend. Students she didn't know gave her fist bumps in the hallway. A sixth grader saluted her at the water fountain. Even Coach Ramirez shouted "Second chances" across the gym before throwing dodgeballs. But Principal Dresden had not forgotten her dignity. While Mr. Gallagher's ban was lifted, his name remained on the incident log in the front office, sandwiched between drone accident during recess and unauthorized hamstering cafeteria. Lila didn't care. Her grandfather was invited back, and that meant everything. Or it did, until she overheard two teachers whispering outside the staff lounge. "Should have kept him off campus longer," said one. "Disruptive. Can't just have people showing up in pajamas." Lila stopped in her tracks. The words weren't meant for her, but they landed sharp. She didn't tell Grandpa. Instead, she came up with a new plan. She recruited 3 friends, then 5, then 12. By Thursday, they had 47 students signed up. Friday morning, when the school bell rang, the hallways looked like the world's softest rebellion. Dinosaur socks on every single kid. Bright green, red, some with glitter eyes, one with a tiny roar chip inside. It was loud, ridiculous, wonderful. Even the custodian wore a pair over his boots. Lila stood by her locker, heart thumping. She hadn't told anyone why, not directly. Just a whisper here, a nudge there. It's Dinosaur Friday, for someone who showed up when it mattered. The school day passed in a haze of suppressed grins and confused adults. At 1:10 p.m., an announcement crackled over the PA system. "Would Lila Gallagher please report to the office?" She froze. Her friends watched her walk the long hallway, socks slightly sliding down. In the front office, Principal Dresden stood by the window. She looked tired. Lila braced herself. Instead, the woman walked to the desk, sat, tapped a folder. "Miss Gallagher," she said, "you've created a trend." "Is that bad?" Lila asked. Dresden didn't smile, but something softened in her eyes. "I've been principal here for 18 years, she said. "In that time, we've had students cheat, steal, vandalize, and stage a protest with a goat." "A goat?" "Don't ask, but never, until this week, have I seen a child rally the school with kindness." Lila blinked. "So, I'm not in trouble?" Dresden exhaled. Then, slowly, from beneath the desk, she raised her foot. Red, fuzzy, dinosaur sock. Lila's jaw dropped. I wear heels all day, Dresden said. Give a woman a break. And for the first time since the incident, Lila saw something astonishing. Principal Dresden laughed. Not a little laugh. A real one, with snorts. Then she leaned forward. Your grandfather, Mr. Gallagher, was he serious about the breakfast next month? He's already testing pancake recipes, Lila said proudly. Well, Dresden said, sliding the folder toward her, he's also been selected to speak. What? We usually pick a grandparent who's been through something. Cancer, war, lost a pet tortoise. You know, heavy stuff. Lila tilted her head. But this year, Dresden said, we're honoring someone who walked into our building in slippers and still made every child feel seen. Silence. Then Lila smiled so wide her cheeks hurt. Can I tell him? Of course. But, she paused, can he wear the socks? Dresden gave a long, theatrical sigh. He can wear the whole dinosaur. Her ears burned like the words had been whispered straight into them. Lila pretended to tie her shoe, but really she just stood there, her back against the wall, feeling her heart twist. All for attention. Too much chaos. They didn't say names, but they didn't need to. They were talking about Mr. Gallagher, her grandfather, the man who had run across the neighborhood in duck-print pajamas so he wouldn't let her down, who had stood at the school gate in the rain to apologize still in those socks. Something cold and sharp rose inside her, not the kind of anger that flares and burns, but the kind that sits in your stomach and makes you want to do something permanent. She didn't go to lunch that day. Instead, she climbed the stairs to the back window of the library. She pulled out her small notebook, the one where she kept important things, and she wrote, If grown-ups forget what it means to be brave, I'll remind them. The next day was club fair. Each student could create a booth for a new group or idea: chess, theater, robotics. Lila set up a cardboard sign at her table. So, Second Chance Club. Join if you've ever underestimated someone or been underestimated. At first, no one came. But 5 minutes later, Clara from 4B signed her name. Then Jaden from 6th grade, the kid whose school play kept getting canceled. Then the art teacher walked by and silently dropped a chocolate bar. By lunch, there were 27 names on the list. Someone had even drawn a tiny pair of pajamas in the corner. That evening, Lila told Mr. Gallagher everything. He didn't say a word, just reached into his back pocket and handed her a lemon candy. She rolled her eyes but took it. Then he pulled out a faded photo. Her mom, a little girl on a school stage. He sat alone in the audience, holding a carnation. This was after, she asked. After you missed that other time? He nodded and lowered himself onto the porch step beside her. You fixed it, she said. In your way. He nodded again. Pause. And I think you're not in the incident log, she added. You're in the legends. He pressed a hand to his chest and laughed, voiceless but bright. And for the first time in a long time, Lila didn't feel like she had to prove anything. Not even to herself. Sometimes the loudest kind of love isn't shouted, it just shows up, in pajamas, at the wrong time, and still exactly when it's needed. Because second chances don't always arrive with perfect timing. Sometimes they come wrapped in embarrassment, in mistakes, in dinosaur print socks. And that's okay. Love doesn't need to be flawless. It just needs to show up. But if someone is willing to try again to show up, to stand by you, to listen without defending, that's when you know they never really left. They just needed a way back in. Was there a moment in your life where someone messed up but showed up anyway? Tell us in the comments. Because sometimes even chaos can be an act of love.